Do you have a little voice in your head that's reminding you of things that you need to do all the time and you want to silence it? Today I'm sharing 5 things to stop keeping in your head, and I'll show you where to put them. Welcome to Learn to Become. I'm April Perry. We help people who are overwhelmed by the details of life to create simple systems so they can do what matters most. And if right now you're feeling kind of overwhelmed and you're thinking, I would love my head to feel calm and serene, have mental clarity, and be excited when I wake up in the morning, you're in the right place. So let's dive in. First is flexible tasks for the week. Do you ever say to a friend, hey, I'll call you next week? Or maybe you tell someone, I'm going to take my car in for an oil change sometime next week. Where do you write these things down if you know you can do them sometime during the week? Most people just keep them in their heads and then they just try to remember, but that's taking up mental bandwidth. David Allen, author of Getting Things Done, calls it your psychic RAM. So if all your energy is spent managing all these tasks flying around your head, you have less energy to put towards the projects and the people and the things that you want to do for your life. So instead of having flexible tasks for the week just anywhere in your head, we're going to go to our Step Command Central diagram. This is the system I teach here at Learn to Become. And we have something called a next actions list inspired by David Allen. This is something I check on a daily basis. It's a weekly list that's organized by where you are when you're actually doing the task. So we have home, phone, errands, computer, and to discuss. In the case of something like, hey, I'll call you sometime next week, that would go on your phone call list. Or something like, I'm going to go get the oil change, that would go under errands. Very, very simple. It can be a digital or paper list, but that way you're not holding any of these things in your head. Number 2 is follow-ups. Sometimes we do something and we're hoping that the person on the other end is going to do what they were supposed to do or that they're going to follow up with us, but that's not always the case. So let's say you have been subscribing to a streaming service and maybe you paid an annual fee and it's pretty expensive, but you decided, I'm going to cancel it so it won't charge in 3 months. Okay, so you go in and you cancel, but 3 months from now, how do you know it was actually canceled? You may want to follow up. But when I ask people, what do you do about things like this? They say, I just kind of keep it in my head and hope I'll remember. What if you have maybe an associate at work and you say, hey, we should get our families together, let's go out to dinner. And they say, that sounds great. Okay, if you don't do anything about it, the chance that they're going to actually schedule it, coordinate it, show up is very low. But if you really do want to have that dinner, you do want to get to know their family, having a follow-up that you specifically remember is going to make a difference. So if I'm not keeping these in my head, where do I write them down? This is where I recommend using your calendar, but using it sparingly. You don't want to put every routine and every little thing on your calendar and all the possibilities, because then your calendar gets overwhelmed. That's why we have the whole system, so that you can use all the pieces and alleviate the pressure on the calendar. So in the case of the streaming service, I would just go to my calendar, maybe like either the day I canceled or it's supposed to stop, or maybe the next day. And I would just make a little reminder, hey, check in and make sure this service was canceled. Super simple. It's going to come to me on that day. Also, if it's like that dinner appointment, same thing. You could create a little calendar reminder saying, okay, I'd probably like to go out with them towards the end of next month. I'm going to set a reminder for the middle of the month to reach out and to coordinate calendars. So that would just be another simple calendar reminder. Just to be clear though, a calendar has 2 parts. One is your appointments for the day, and then the second part is your specific tasks you have to do that day. I recommend you keep appointments and tasks for the day very, very short, little small lists get done. And so if you know that you check your calendar and you do what's on your calendar every day, because it's light and easy and fun, then when you take these follow-ups and create calendar reminders, you just have confidence, you know you're going to check them, and you know you're going to get it done. Number 3 is personal goals. If you keep personal goals in your head, yes, at least you have the goal maybe, but the chance that you're going to remember them is very, very low. In fact, I read this great stat. It said, according to research by Dr. Gail Matthews, writing down your goals makes you 42% more likely to achieve them compared to simply thinking about them. This is because the act of writing down your goals increases clarity, commitment, and accountability, making it more likely you will take action toward achieving them. And I don't have the stat in front of me, but I also remember if you write down your goals and you tell a friend and you have that accountability, I think it goes up to like 90% or something like that. Okay, so the reason why I want you to write down your personal goals is because I want you to have this benefit of being able to get them done. But if you think, well, if I just write them down, where do I put them, or how do I remember, how do I review them? Let's go back to the Command Central. Here in the weekly section, we have goals. It's just so simple, but the way that I recommend that you do it is to have one place where you have your specific goals for the year, and we have resources here on the channel if you want some ideas on how to create those. And then when you do your weekly review and you're looking at your calendar and your routines and your projects and things, you also look at those goals and then you create projects, routines, and next actions and calendar items for the week that will support those goals. It's so fun when you can write down a goal and know confidently that you're going to get it done because you have a system in place to support you in that effort. So goals written down, reviewed weekly, instead of just keeping them in your head. Game changer. Number 4 is big decisions. I'm just going to give a couple examples from our life, but when you have something that's going to take either a discussion with a spouse or a partner or family member or associate, or you have a decision that you really need to weigh the pros and cons and you need to do some research, if you just keep that in your head, it's going to take up quite a bit of bandwidth, and also you may not end up making the best decision because you might not end up putting the resources of time and energy toward it that it requires. So one example is we had some friends who were doing a real estate investment and they were asking people if they wanted to participate. Okay, well, it was something that we needed to research. We needed to look into all the paperwork that they'd sent us. Eric and I needed to have discussions on what we would want to invest, if it made sense with our other investments. I had a lot of questions and I wanted to go through and ask all the questions and not just kind of go into it blindly. And that was kind of a big deal. Another one is our son had an opportunity to go do a humanitarian trip, and it was going to be like 2 weeks. He's going to Malaysia. It was going to be kind of a big deal. We were willing to pay half if he wanted to, pay half. And so it was just one of those decisions that we really needed to research and find out if maybe his friend could go with them and all the stuff that went with it. But if you don't write those down, like if I didn't do what I'm about to tell you to do with them, I don't know we would have even made the decisions. We probably just would have missed out on both opportunities. But we were able to take advantage of both opportunities because of what we did with it, not keeping it in our head. Sometimes if a decision is really big, like, oh, we're going to move, or a big investment that's going to take a lot of research, you would want to make that a project. So in our weekly section, we have our current projects list. That's because you review it weekly. Typically my current projects list lasts for about a month, but I update it weekly. That's why it's in this category. So I could put under, our family, consider this investment opportunity, and that would be a project that I would then break down with next actions. Sometimes it doesn't need to be a whole project. It could just go right to your next actions list. So I could say, oh, we're going to research on the computer, reading through the documents, or looking at this opportunity for our son. Or it could be a phone call. I'm going to call my son's friend's mom and see if it will work for them to go together, something like that. Or if it's just like Eric and I just need to have a discussion, I'm just going to put this on the to discuss list and say, hey, what's a good next step? Do you want to meet about this? Do you want to sit down together? Make an appointment on the calendar, that type of thing. But when you can take that big decision and put it into a next actions list or onto a current projects list, now you're already deciding that you're going to give the resources to that decision that it deserves. If it's not an important decision, no big deal, and I don't care if you have every decision written down, but big decisions, it does make a big difference. Number 5 is our highest priority projects. When I sit down with somebody and I ask, how do you decide what to work on in a given month? Whether to focus on like redoing a bathroom or moving forward on a new system in your business or going on a vacation, like how do you decide which projects you're working on? Most people don't know how to respond to that because either they're working on 50 to 100 projects all at the same time and they're not really getting them done, or they work on whatever's just top of mind, whatever's coming at them at the moment, and they're not thinking about it at all. When you keep all of your projects in your brain, you're basically saying it's okay if I don't get any of these done. I'm just gonna kind of be busy and they'll just be busy, right? But if you go to our current projects list, okay, so here in our weekly list every week, you have a current projects list that has 1 to 8 projects for the month that deserve your focus. And we recommend that you have me, my family, and then beyond, which is the paid or volunteer work. But having those projects very specific in a short list is going to help you to be able to actually know what you're doing. So I keep mine on a chalkboard in my office. I also keep them in my digital project manager. I use Asana right now. I also write the same projects on my little bookmark that I keep in my planner because I like to be able to have my focus right in front of me. This is really helpful because then, let's say I feel like, oh, it'd be more fun to work on this other thing right now. I have to ask, okay, just because it's more fun, does that mean I want to make it a current project? Or do I need to put it next in line and actually do what I'd planned to do because the projects I created were in alignment with my values? It's really, really helpful to have a current projects list, and we have a whole workshop here on the channel to take you through, and there's a template to help you decide what you're going to do. I just recommend not keeping your highest priority projects in your brain because most likely you're not going to get them done. But if you learn how to make a simple current projects list and you start using this little system, you're going to find that every month when you write down your current projects, they all just get done every month, and you start to feel light and happy and feel like, oh, I'm making progress on the things that truly matter most. I hope that this has been fun for you, and I hope that you're recognizing that even if right now your head feels a little cluttered and overwhelmed, it's 100% possible to create a system to have that mental clarity. It's hard for me sometimes to explain how powerful this is because I can't show you a picture of a mind that's stressed and a mind that's calm. We show a lot of pictures of rooms that are overwhelmed with clutter and rooms that are clean, and that gives you a nice visual. But the exact same thing is happening in our heads. And when we learn how to clear the clutter and how to make sure that we're not using our brain power to just spin tasks, but when an idea or an opportunity or inspiration comes to us, we can put it right into a system that will support us. That gives our brains the ability to be present and joyful so we can wake up excited and go to bed content. We have some great videos here on the channel to help you do this, and we have a program here at Learn to Become to walk you through it if you're ready to be part of Steps to Everyday Productivity. We'll link our free training in the description and some additional videos so that you can have that as your resource. But just know that we're here to help take care of you. It's possible to get out of the overwhelm, and it's going to be so much fun. Okay, we'll see you soon.